So, picture the mattress you've been sleeping on for a decade.
Oh yeah, never a pretty picture.
Right. At first, it's firm, it bounces right back. But over time, the internal springs just sort of lose their tension.
Yeah, the foam compresses and the whole thing just sags.
Exactly. And you can put fancy, expensive sheets on top of it, but that doesn't fix the underlying structure at all.
No, it doesn't. And that is essentially what happens to the human body.
Those little springs.
Right, the microscopic springs keeping your tissues tight and functional, they're made of collagen. And here is the sobering reality. Starting in your 20s, your endogenous collagen production.
Meaning the stuff your body naturally makes on its own.
Exactly. That natural production drops by about 1 to 1.5% every single year.
Wow. Which brings us to your mission for today's deep dive.
Yes.
We are taking a massive stack of rigorous human clinical trials and just stripping away all the wellness aisle marketing to find out what collagen supplementation actually does for your body.
Getting right to the fact.
Right. No animal studies, no hype, just the hard, trustworthy data on how to rebuild those mattress springs while you're still sleeping on them.
And we really have to start at the aesthetic surface, because that is where the clinical consensus is surprisingly clear.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I was looking at this massive review from 2023, the Pu et al. Meta-analysis.
So when tracking over 1,700 people.
Right. And the data clearly shows that taking 2.5 to 5 grams of hydrolyzed collagen every day significantly improves skin hydration and elasticity.
Solid evidence.
It is. But I need you to translate something before we go further. What exactly makes it hydrolyzed?
So hydrolyzed simply means the collagen proteins have been broken down into incredibly tiny digestible chains called peptides.
Okay.
Because if you just ate a scoop of raw, unhydrolyzed collagen, your digestive system would just break it down into basic calories.
Like eating a steak.
Exactly like a steak.
Mm.
But because these peptides are already broken down, specific bioactive ones like a dipeptide called ProHip, they actually survive your digestive tract intact.
Wait, really? So they make it all the way into the bloodstream?
They do. They travel right through your blood and reach the deep layer of your skin, the dermis.
Wow.
And they don't just sit there as passive building blocks. They act as biological distress signals.
What do you mean by distress signals?
Well, they bind to your body's cellular factories, which are called fibroblasts, and they essentially command them to manufacture brand new native collagen.
Oh, I love that. So it's not just, dropping off a pile of bricks for a wall. It's actively hiring more bricklayers to do the work.
That is a perfect way to look at it. But if those bricklayers are patching up the surface of your skin, we also have to look deeper.
At the joints, right?
Right, at how the body handles heavy structural lifting. The human evidence for osteoarthritis pain relief is incredibly consistent here.
But the dosing is weird, isn't it?
It is. The protocol is completely flipped, depending on what kind you take. So to get that structural benefit from standard hydrolyzed collagen, you need about 10 grams a day.
Okay, 10 grams.
But there's another form called undenatured type 2 collagen, or UC2, where you only take 40 milligrams.
Wait, 10 grams versus 40 milligrams? How can a dose that tiny possibly do anything?
What's fascinating here is a biological mechanism called oral tolerance.
Oral tolerance?
Yeah. That tiny UC2 dose isn't acting as structural scaffolding at all. It never even reaches your joints.
Then what does it do?
Instead, it travels to your gut, where it interacts directly with your immune system. It essentially trains your body's T cells to stop attacking its own joint cartilage.
That is wild.
It shuts down the joint destruction from the inside out, rather than trying to rebuild the tissue.
It's basically a software update for your immune system.
Exactly.
But let's say someone is taking the standard 10 grams for their joints or the 5 grams for their skin, and they just aren't seeing results.
Right.
I saw mentions in the data about missing cofactors. Why would the powder fail?
Usually it comes down to a lack of vitamin C.
Just normal vitamin C.
Yeah. Your body absolutely requires vitamin C to perform a chemical process called cross-linking.
Okay.
Think of cross-linking as the mortar that locks those newly laid collagen fibers together. Without vitamin C acting as that chemical glue, the new structure remains weak and disorganized.
So, you could be swallowing handfuls of collagen powder, but without vitamin C, the whole structure just falls apart.
Precisely. And the mechanical context matters just as much as the chemical one.
What do you mean by mechanical?
Well, the data shows that 15 grams of daily collagen can significantly improve muscle mass in elderly populations. But the crucial caveat is that it must be paired with resistance training.
Ah, lifting weights.
Right. The physical strain acts as a directional signal. It tells your body, hey, we have micro tears in this specific muscle tissue. Shuttle those amino acids over here to repair it.
So taking the powder while sitting on the couch does nothing for your muscles.
Absolutely nothing.
And while we're clearing the air on what doing nothing looks like, I really want to emphasize something here.
Go for it.
Despite some of the wilder claims floating around the internet, there is absolutely zero rigorous human clinical data supporting collagen for, improving your mental health or magically extending your lifespan.
Yeah, if you're looking for a mood boost or the fountain of youth, the human science just isn't there. We really have to stick to the proven structural benefits.
Right. So what does this all mean for you listening? Well, you have to match your supplement to your specific goal.
Exactly.
2.5 to 5 grams of hydrolyzed collagen for your skin, 10 grams, or that tiny 40 milligram UCTI immune dose for your joints.
And pair it with vitamin C.
Right, pair it with vitamin C, maybe lift some weights, and give it 8 to 12 weeks of consistent use so those bricklayers actually have time to finish the job.
Which leaves us with a final, rather profound question to consider.
Oh.
If our natural collagen production declines linearly starting in our 20s, could targeted continuous supplementation before you ever see a wrinkle or feel a joint ache fundamentally rewrite your body's structural aging timeline?